Mass 2021. This is a drama, very strongly a human interest film, and it's such a heavy subject. And the detail it goes into, the emotional attention, the bewilderment, the forlorn disconnection, the agony, and it's set in a church, and at the start, we see a couple of workers, the sort of manager and administrator of the church, and a volunteer or maybe internal, someone who is helping. So Anthony and Judy is the admin, and Anthony is helping, and he's a lot younger and comes across slightly naive from how Judy uh, is a bit worried about how he talks. Then there's Kendra, played by Michelle N. Carter, and she is the main person who's organised the particular meeting that's going to happen. She's kind of like a facilitator, although she doesn't actually attend the meeting. The meeting that is going to be happening is between two sets of parents, so four people, and they are the mother and father, respectively, of two dead children, school kids, one who killed the other. So this is why it's really heavy, because you don't get to see anything about the events. It's not like Elephant 2003, which was an amazing film, but this is a lot more. Um, it's almost like a stage play, but it is set in a few locations around Haley, Idaho, and it's just like a small village or maybe a town, but very small, with a church as and it's so rural. I mean, when we get to meet Richard and Linda, Richard played by Reed Birney, and Linda played by Anne Dowd. Oh gosh, you see them in the car outside the church, and Linda is not sure she's ready for this meeting. So Richard drives them around the corner to another location, and he talks with her. I mean, they're both hurting, it's very clear, but you see that he's staring at this little piece of ribbon, perhaps 10 centimeters in length, fluttering in the wind, sort of orangey pink in color, peach colored, and it's just symbolic, it seems, for a tragedy that happened a few years before. I think it's about 6 years, if I remember correctly. And when Linda's ready, they both drive. They drive round and they enter the church and meet Kendra. And then we meet also Jay. No, actually, I've got the names wrong. Richard and Linda are the parents of uh, the son who perpetrated the crime, the school shooting. It's Jay and Gail. So Jay is played by Jason Isaac, and Gail is played by Martha Plimpton. And so they are playing the well, they're both bereaved, but I think Jay and Gail feel perhaps more strongly justified in entrenched grief, very strong grief, and yet they're valiantly doing their best not to be confrontational. And then there's Richard and Linda, who are also in bereavement, but they have a lot of guilt as well because it was their son that killed about 10 children in this school shooting. It seems though that he threw a bomb and then started shooting kids. And I think they were about 16 or 17 years old from, again, following the dialogue, but wasn't completely clear. But the acting is absolutely amazing because all the emotion that's conveyed in this story, I just felt the power of it. The reticence, because they're trying to hold it together, the sense of reconciliation that they want something good to come out of this meeting, but there's so much grief and it's still raw after 6 years. Of course, it would be something as enormous as this, and to think there are school shootings happening so often in the US, there must be so many people in this kind of situation. It's just heartbreaking to think about. And you don't even make the news often. That's the massive tragedy of it all. It's not like, I mean, the Boomtown Rats in the 70s wrote, "I don't like Monday." And that was when shootings were rare and you could actually write an impactful song that gets to number one. But now they're much more regular. Things have got so much worse over the decades. And uh, um, there's this sense of poignancy and how the shooter's family are sort of being slightly defensive, but also trying to build bridges. You see a bit of both of it, and you can see when they're getting a bit upset about things. Um, there's interrupted, I'd call it discordant grief. Um, this is from Richard and Linda, simply because no church would memorialize their kid because he was a perpetrator. And when they talk about the crime, it's only the 10 people mentioned, not the 11 that includes the perpetrator. In a way, the perpetrator becomes a non-person. And this is where a lot of the story is a focus of how the um, the questioning that Gail and Jay have of Linda and Richard. It's like, how come you didn't see the signs, the red flags about your son, about what he was about to do? And, I mean, you can see there's all these layers of acrimony that are being held back. Um, when you bring up a child, I'm not a parent, but there will be elements that are out of anyone's control. Um, I've got a review of Adolescence that I made soon after seeing it. I'll post that up very soon. But there's some things that you can perhaps pin on the parents, but there are plenty because, especially when you like say 17 years old, you've had so much experience of life outside from peer groups. So, um, how did they bring up the the monster as such? I mean, that's how Jay and Gail see it. Um, I mean, they don't really say that. They more imply it in some of their questioning, but they talk about. I mean, Jay talks about psychology, about fMRI. I mean, those sort of MRI scans of the brain, and he talks about empathy and mirror neurons, and then he's cut down by Richard, who doesn't want to hear that and says, "None of us are experts. You're not an expert." And you can see all this. There's a lot of dialogue, and it's worth it. And I don't think there's any sort of spoilers in this film, simply because, I mean, there's a moment at the end. They tell stories, especially like Gail. She's encouraged to tell a story. Um, Linda doesn't, or she holds back, but then she does tell a story. Um, it's just so. Oh gosh. At the end, I didn't think so. I held back on my own feelings of emotion, but then at the end, I did cry because it's so poignant, it's so painful, and it's just acted so well. It's just amazing. I mean, at times it's explosive and it's really powerful. Um, but just that it is all dialogue. It means there's no gore. There's no the tensions throughout. It's not like building up to a massive twist. You can really feel palpably the PTSD. So much pain is conveyed through the screen, and just there's several cutaways that peach ribbon on that fence. You know, it's there. I mean, all the attention to detail, the symbolism at the start as well, when the preparation by the church people for the meeting. And Kendra knows she's experienced. She's probably done it before. She's been trained. She knows what to look for, what will be okay, where to place the tissue box, not in the middle of the table. That's weird. She talks about. She worries about this artwork on the window panes, because they look a bit like they look red. They look a bit like smears of blood. Might be triggering. So she asks. She talks a lot and gets the admin to clear up the room, so it's a much more totally neutral place. It is neutral for the sets of parents. One's flown in, one set of parents flown in, one set of parents driven. And they talk about disturbance, mental health, distinguishing it from hate. Um, they talk about gaming culture, about computers, about access online. That's where it's quite similar to um, Adolescence 2025. That mini series is absolutely amazing as well. Um, so the memories, the layers upon layers of love, and you can really see the love. The anatomy of forgiveness, the understanding why it's so elusive. It comes across in this film. You see how the fathers, both of them in this case, they seem to have taken on the detail, read through the reports, imagined, learned exactly what happened with the kids that were gunned down, especially their own kids, but they seem to learn about exactly what happened with all of them. Um, so it's gentle, but it's awesome, I would say. So I'm going to score it 9.25, and that's right in the middle of the 9 that the general public in tomatoes scored it, whilst the popcornometer, whilst 9.5 is what Rotten Tomatoes gives it on their experts tomatometer. Wow, it's such food for thought. It's a really amazing film. 9.25. I almost want to give it a higher score, but very few films I, I, I'm minded to give 9.5. I don't know. It's almost, but 9.25 I'll give it. So thanks for watching. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd really like to see any comments if you've seen this film. And thanks for watching. Please like if you like this review. Thanks if you subscribe. Please hit the notification button. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.